The culinary world felt the death of Anthony Bourdain in 2018 like a lightning bolt straight to the heart. Unfortunately, there are several so-called facts floating around about his death that simply aren't true, and here are some of the worst of them. Relatively new fans of Bourdain and his work may not have known about the chef's past, but those who did read any of his books or the many interviews he did on the topic know all too well about his struggle with drugs, particularly heroin. Because of that past, people were quick to assume some kind of substance crept into play when he passed, and some of those rumors did get started pretty quickly once the news came out, according to the Miami Herald. However, toxicology reports indicated Bourdain was free of narcotics at the time of his death, according to USA Today. If he had been on drugs, it's easy to assume the substances distorted his sense of reality and helped convince him there was no other way to escape his depression. Sadly, since the coroner's report found nothing illegal in his system, it means the decision was something his sober mind made on its own. Before his death, Bourdain had not been shy about his love for his girlfriend Asia Argento, often opening up about being happier since the two had become an item, as people reported. But according to TMZ, Argento was seen holding hands and hugging a French reporter just days before Bourdain's death, and people were quick to assume that heartbreak caused Bourdain to take his own life. Argento, however, dispelled those rumors, saying neither of them had been completely faithful to each other during their relationship, and they were both okay with it.
He had cheated on me too. It wasn't a problem with us.
Argento went on to explain that he was a man who traveled 265 days a year.
When we saw each other, we took really great pleasure in each other's presence, but we are not children.
Bourdain amassed significant funds over his uber-successful career, so one question that lingered at the time of his death was, how much was the chef worth? With so many variables to take into account, the answer is a bit murky. Even though reports put Bourdain's net worth reaching upwards of $16 million, his will told a much different monetary story, according to Town & Country. His estate was valued at $1.2 million, and according to Fortune, he left nearly all of it to his daughter, Ariane. But because she's a minor, an unnamed guardian is set to protect the inheritance until she turns 18. Had she passed before the chef, everything would have gone to his daughter's nanny. Bourdain's former wife, Otavia, received his frequent flyer miles, and he had accumulated a ton throughout his travels. She also got furniture, books, and a slew of other personal items. When Bourdain's book Kitchen Confidential took the literary world by storm and launched him into superstardom in 2007, his financial woes quickly disappeared, and the world of food and travel became his oyster. But the fame and fortune apparently did little to help his feelings of inadequacy and depression. Fans who read an interview Bourdain gave with People not long before he died had no reason to think he was depressed. He said, "I'm happy in ways that I had not been in memory, and happy in ways I didn't think I ever would be, for sure."
So back in Vietnam, one of my favorite places on earth, and all of the things I need for happiness.
Those who had been on the road with him, however, told a different story. As Bourdain's fame and television ratings increased, his adventures apparently became more about getting the necessary camera shots than actually mingling with the locals and truly learning about the culture surrounding him. One person who worked with him told Vanity Fair, "We chalked it up to being tired, but the excitement of the road just wasn't there for him anymore." People were truly shocked at the news of Bourdain's passing. Social media posts from his stunned friends, fans, and fellow celeb chefs indicated that no one saw this coming. He had talked about having dark thoughts in the past, which perhaps led everyone to believe those thoughts were behind him. Looking back to 2005, Bourdain visited the Caribbean islands to drown out his sorrows with alcohol and drugs after his first marriage ended. In his book Medium Raw, he recounts feeling, quote, aimless and regularly suicidal during his stay. He claimed that those thoughts dried up, and it appears most people took him at his word. Sadly, his actions proved they were still very real. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255.